Today I'd like to end with a short guided meditation on Atma Vichara, which is self-inquiry as coined by the great Ramana Maharshi, a mystic of the 20th century, perhaps the 19th century. It's been a long time, but not that long. He would often ask his disciples to just ask questions concerning the self repeatedly until the self revealed itself to the self. Questions such as, who am I? What am I? The highest level, and to whom do these questions occur to? We'll start by getting our body in a comfortable position where we do not feel it is needed to make constant adjustments. The purpose of a meditation posture is that it's one in which the body should complain the least. So do not try to force your body into any uncomfortable position, as that goes contrary to the purpose of meditation. It's just putting your body in a place where it's not going to distract us as the meditators. But perhaps that provides us a good place to start on the subject of the body. This meditation concerns the seer and the seen. The object of sight we call the seen, and the subject of sight we call the seer. We'll actually begin with our eyes open with an object in our surroundings. Doesn't matter what it is, but anything can be used. I'm going to use this ball. In the practice of sight, I simply ask the question, who is the seer and who is the seen? Am I the one seeing this ball? Or am I the one being seen by the ball? Now, it's not a trick question, though we can absolutely explore the nature of how we are one with the object of sight. The purpose of this meditation is supposed to be entirely rational, as a logical means of attaining self-realization. That clearly, I am the one seeing the ball, and the ball is the one being seen. And we go from there. It's true because it's true. There is not necessarily any inherent reasoning for why we've come to the conclusion, because it's not a conclusion, it's a starting point for where we're about to head. But there's a natural knowingness that comes with the experience of the seer and the seen, that what we see is separate from the one doing the seeing. And we'll follow that separation until we get to the self. It does not feel like we are being seen by this ball. But we certainly are seeing the ball. And therefore this ball must be something separate from us. Because if we imagine that we were the ball, how could we possibly be seeing ourselves outside of ourselves? How can there be a separation, a kind of space between ourselves and another part of ourselves? That somehow intuitively we know that whatever we are, it must be whole. that it is one. And so with that feeling of oneness within, we recognize the bowl is not ourself. It is the seen, and we are the seer. And I can put the bowl down now. But now we ask the question, what is doing the seeing? Of course, the answer is our eyes. Our eyes are the seer of the seen. But are we the eyes? And this is where it gets more challenging. We can ask the exact same questions we did with the bowl, but instead of the bowl, now we use our eyes. Are the eyes the seen or the seer? Well, they were the seer of the bowl as the seen, but now the object of our attention is the eye itself. Are we aware of the eyes, or are the eyes aware of us? It might be more helpful to use other words besides seer and seen now. Although seer and seen can certainly be used as metaphors, here we're talking in a much more general sense of awareness. Are we aware of our eyes, or are our eyes aware of us? In the same way, there is a distinct space between ourself and the bowl. There is a distinct space between ourself and our eyes. Even though it feels like we're right there, at the origin of sight, actually even sight is something that occurs to us as seen. That the organ of seeing is a part of the sight. Now, to the eye, it might not be able to see itself, but to us, as the witness of the eye from within, we experience its sight as separate from us. Therefore, we must not be our eyes. We can close them now. So to whom do the eyes occur? Clearly to the bowl, it occurs to our eyes. But to whom do the eyes occur? That would be the mind. Our mind is capable of seeing, so to speak, the eyes. But a different kind of sight. Still a kind of awareness, perception. The mind perceives the eyes. The mind is capable of thinking about thoughts. Therefore, the eyes become the seen, and the mind becomes the seer. What is the mind? To whom does it occur to? Are we the mind? Again, we ask the question, are we aware of our mind? Or is our mind aware of us? And again, not a trick question. It should be obvious. In the most simplest sense, we are aware of our minds. We perceive its thoughts. Clearly, we are aware of the mind. Is it aware of us? We wouldn't be doing this meditation if it was. mind may think about itself, but that self occurs only to it as just another thought which it is thinking, which categorically makes us as something distinct from the mind. The mind is only aware the idea of the self that appears through it in the form of the senses, including the eyes. The mind is only aware of a kind of self that comes from the world before it, but behind it, the mind is not aware. But you are. Therefore, the mind is something distinct from us, since it is a part of our awareness, and not the other way around. So the mind is the seen, but who is its seer? You could say, I am. But who is that I? Who is this I that is the knower of the mind? Indeed, the I is the seer of the mind, and the mind is the seen. But what is this I? Are we truly that I? To whom does even this I occur to? This sense of self, higher than the mind, still within our experience. Is this I a part of our awareness, or are we a part of it? You may feel as you play around with your very own self that even you are separate from this I. This I that is always calling itself by many names. I am blonde. I am brunette. I am male. I am female. I am smart. I am dumb. I am Canadian. I like maple syrup. I. To whom does that I occur to? What is that I? From where has it come from? And who is the knower of this I? Since we are talking about that very I, clearly the answer cannot be I or me or mine. There is something, therefore, even beyond your sense of self. And that is the true self. And one cannot even call that your true self or my true self, because whatever you have arrived at is the same for me as it is for you. To whom do our eyes occur to? And that's I like the letter. is an awareful witness of consciousness that has no shape or form and cannot be known by any name. There is just awareness. I am. Thank you for listening.